Nick, great.
The Mysterio fucking ice cone, snow cone.
Yeah, we used to
Yeah,
call it
man.
suicide.
Yeah, because we used to have this guy, bro. There used to be these guys that rode bicycles.
Yeah.
Right? They'd have shaved ice in
Oh
the
yeah,
cooler.
on the cooler.
Right, on the
bicycle,
cooler.
Yeah.
And we called them, damn, and I can't remember the fucking name right now, bro. But, you know, he'd always have the speaker on or a bell,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He'd always come by and make these snow cones, and he always had these orange, you know, all these exotic flavors or unique flavors, and he would just mix them all up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we called it in Spanish. I can't remember what the fuck it was called, man. It's not helados. It's damn, bro.
Where?
God, that just rattled my brain.
Where
That's
I come from, we
amazing.
call that a suicide.
A suicide. When
Yeah.
you take all the flavors
All
and you
the
mix them
flavors
all together.
All together.
Dude, all that sugar.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You mix all the flavors together. Even if it was pop, like let's say you mix like cherry Pepsi with cherry Dr. Pepper and then cherry vanilla Coke, right? And you mix it all together.
Oh
call
my
it a
God, bro.
suicide.
Yeah, that is suicide because if you can actually stomach it, dude, the tweaker hit that you're gonna get from all that sugar.
I don't know. We would just go to the corner store and get the Polar Pop, man. And then we get the suicide. And every color and every flavor that we could get. We were on it. Little did we know we were setting ourselves up for...
For you all, you were destined for failure, but it was gonna be great.
Yeah.
All the way to the end.
All the way, bro. Yeah. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
Yep. Yeah, it all depends on how much sugar and how fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I remember that. Those were good times. Nostalgia. That's why I don't look at our kids funny when they do that. When they go to the snow cone machine and they're like, I want every color and flavor. I'm like, yes, you do.
Of course you do. You know, that's the thing about variety, dude. It'll get you sick. It'll make you sick.
That's when people are like, I can't choose. There's too many options. And I'm like, nah, that's when you go, I want this one from this category, this one from this category, and this one from this category. So I need a salty, a sweet, a savory, and a chocolate.
I'm going to try them all. Fuck it. I'm here.
good.
You know, I got here. I might as well.
Listen, we already talked about this a long time ago. Yes. I'm here. I might as well try everything that I can, possibly in my existence, that I am allowed to in my realm.
I mean, this is the world. This is meant for us to experience, right?
Yeah, well, sometimes we have to, we have to
Yeah,
learn.
we want to try all of Baskin Robbins flavors all at once. And sometimes not.
I had a brain freeze when I did that. Have you ever done that before where you tried a different scoop of ice cream? Like you had a dish and it was like 4 different scoops or 5 different scoops of ice cream and they're all different flavors? Okay, mint, chocolate chip, chocolate, vanilla.
I think I've
coffee,
had no. I think the most I've ever done
raspberry
is like a
chip.
Neapolitan together. That's it. Just what was it? The way it used to come: chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's the most variety I've ever had, and I think I had it in an ice cream sandwich. So,
I would always get brain freeze when I ate that.
welcome in, fam. How we doing today?
Yes, I was a glutton for punishment. Yes.
I mean, come on, man. The 80s and the 90s were great.
I know.
They were really great. And then we got into the 2000s and shit got weird. It's just that simple.
Yeah, that's when the world as we knew it ended.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Apparently.
That was Y2K.
That was Y2K.
But everybody never understood what Y2K was about. And
No,
like,
I didn't understand what
they all
Y2K
thought it was all
about.
technology. And I'm like, no, y'all are nuts. But at the same time,
what was it, a fucking giant psyop, or we were getting a warning?
no, it was a complete shift in parallel dimensions. And then it happened again in 12, and then it happened again in 17, and then it happened again in 2020, and then it happened again in 2021.
Jesus. So we've jumped a bunch of times into different...
Yeah, because it's all based upon coherence of the
Yeah.
collective perspective and energy that's being reflected into your own parallel dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Quiet, because I have no clue what I just said. I'm gonna go back.
Well, I mean, it makes... Damn it, now it don't make sense.
Nope.
But it made sense when you said it. And I'm glad that I taped it. Because I'll go back and I'll listen to it again and I'll
I didn't
understand
say
it.
it.
Huh?
But yes.
I know it wasn't you. It was for the professor of physics.
Yeah, wasn't it?
And knowledge.
And knowledge. And that life once lived is what just came back. The philosopher.
Uh-huh.
The theologist. The cosmologist.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in one shot. Wow, the Big Bang Theory.
The singularity, right?
Right. It's all now.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote in your video. The video that you put up, which is really cool, by the way, what you were talking about. And you were talking about, I don't know if you were talking about concept or something. I can't remember, but I was like, yes. I was like, let's go. It's all now.
People jump in and jump out. I haven't seen anybody I know yet, which is really interesting. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. But then again, there's that stupid counter that doesn't even work half the fucking time anyway. Welcome in, fam. How are you today? Yeah, you can hear Sky from here.
Mm-hmm.
She's very verbal.
First day Aries season, what do you expect?
Yeah, first day of Aries season.
Yeah, what do you expect?
Yeah. You can feel the changes. You can definitely feel changes.
You can feel the lifting.
That's for sure. You could feel a lot of things coming into clarity right now.
The lifting of Mercury.
Yeah, and the intensity that's associated with the fire of Aries. You know? It's really nice to pick up on those things because you can feel those things building, you know? And I guess this is kind of like, you know, what our ancestors went through, man. That they knew these things naturally, that because they had the ability to perceive these things and flow naturally with life before we all got, you know, before we got changed to a different part of the ecosystem.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever is happening now in the existence of this realm and this paradigm has never happened before, but I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, going back to the natural ways in a modern way, in an evolved way.
Well, that's part of the threshold that we're in right now.
Yeah.
The passageway. Remember when we were talking about the corridor and the 3-day passageway?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the threshold.
Isn't that where we're in right now?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
what
to
I'm
be
trying to
honest
tell
with
you.
you,
That's
we're
what
it's the second door.
Yeah, well, no. We're in the middle.
We're in the
because
middle?
the second is the 20th, which is the equinox.
Okay, so it was, what was it, the 16th? No.
Today is
Damn
the
it,
first
now I gotta
door.
look at the calendar to see where the humps are at.
Today's the first door because it's the new moon.
Okay, so the new moon was the first door.
Uh-huh. Which is today.
Which is today.
The second door
is on the 20th, which is Friday.
Which is Friday.
And then the third door is the 22nd.
And then the third door is the 22nd, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, because isn't that when Neptune is sextile something?
No, that's that's the Kazemi. The Saturn Kazemi, isn't it?
Yeah, the Saturn Kazemi is on the 23rd or 22nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that should be an interesting day, too.
That's why...
What's up, lady?
A lot of push through the threshold.
Thank God you're here. We have a lot of escapees, apparently. I can almost hear you laughing, lady. I love some of the names that come in here. It's phenomenal. So we were talking about what's happening right now, basically, and what we were coming up with is like, you know, we are starting to have that clarity and intensity and purity really come through, or the purification, you know, for some of us, you know what I'm saying? We're still going through the fire in a sense, but like basically where we're at right now is we're going through that transitionary state where we feel, think, and know in a more positive and more intuitive way, at least, that things seem brighter today, right? Which of course is, you know, the spring equinox is literally 2 days away from now. We're in a new moon, so there's a lot of celebratory energy and also ceremonial energy, because a lot of us are going through rebirths and stuff like that right now. which it was really important because that's a testament to the work that we've been doing over the winter, over the solstice, understanding ourselves and getting to know ourselves, or understanding that we have a deeper meaning and a deeper importance, not only to ourselves, but other people, the people in our lives, our family, our community. You know what I'm saying? Your loved one, your relationship, or whatever. You have the ability to put way more love into what you're doing now because of all the things that you have overcome or released somehow. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's kind of like a broadband message here, family, without getting into getting into too many details, but just understanding that we're in this systematic process of release, right? You hear us talk about it all the time about how every 28 days you go through a fucking cycle, and if you pay attention to the 28 days, you start becoming more intuitive on any other cycle once you become acclimate to the cycle that you're paying attention to. And this one of the easiest ways is actually the personal way. My experience is that I've studied the planets, their shift of energy. I am a sensitive, that has the ability to pick up on these different frequencies and how these energies shift and change. And my journey has been about understanding these things, how they work, and what influences do they play in people's lives based on my intuitive sense of feeling. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, the emotional value that we're putting towards anything right now is really important because we actually have the ability to see through a lot of things that might be ailing us. We might be still releasing those things, but I promise you these things to get brighter as we go along, right? As we head into Aries season, as the spring comes in and, we go into harvest and stuff like that. So basically the next 6 months are going to be nothing but amazing in many ways for a lot of people because of the divine grace that has been bestowed upon them and their allowing of such, So there was a strong surrendering this season, is what Spirit just said, to understanding that our choices that are not intuitively led are chances that we take with our lives, regardless of what they are. We have a tendency to miss the mark when we're not following, our best and highest good or our higher self, or we're in kind of like a clique or an atmosphere that doesn't allow us to vibrate at a frequency that allows us to be in abundance, in flow, in rhythm, and harmony. And a lot of people are coming to terms with a lot of that energy that has literally kept them in a place where they don't belong anymore. And now there's a lot of, I want to get out, and I'm going to do what it takes to get out. And I'm going to utilize my divine discernment to get me out of here, because nobody knows better than the creator itself. You know what I'm saying? Or the man himself, depending on which way you see that. Right? So divine guidance is here, is what Spirit just said. But be mindful of the sword that you wield, right? The defensiveness is something that is of the highest regard, is what Spirit is saying here. The defensiveness that we hold is something that we can feel. We can actually feel ourselves bottling ourselves up right now, possibly even putting pressure on our chest, or unnecessarily feelings of headaches or density on top of our crown, right? We're doing this to ourselves, is what Spirit is saying. Utilizing words or having an understanding or a belief of a word is actually maintaining that energy inside of you that is not allowing you to flow freely, and that's the communication that you're receiving in the moment. So if you had a question about that, here's an answer that, and take that back to your team or your camp to better understand yourself in a way that, is more influential or is influential. Let this be the key element to what's being said here. Let me see what else I got here. I feel like I feel like we realize that, and this is the purpose of the clarity, and this is kind of like the shift in momentum and the intensity of everything that's happening right now, is we're able to see through our own bullshit, is what I'm feeling here with this reading. You know what I'm saying? Like literally when everything shifted, if not this afternoon, then this morning, that we have a higher sense of clarity or a higher sense of awareness. Everything seems brighter. You might be receiving tingling sensations, maybe even back pain, or possibly, some type of stress that is keeping you, that is letting you know that you are still you're not acclimated to the new density or the new lack of density. It's more so an awareness of, hey, you're holding on to something that is not allowing you to rise right now, and this is what your body is telling you. So it's really important to understand that, maybe a sense of grounding, a sense of coming into being, or coming to yourself, or coming to terms with something is probably really necessary for, people in the collective right now. When, and with the lovers, we all make choices, but we have to choose, we have to pick and choose what it is that we choose to love now, because everything that we love grows. And if we don't know what seeds we've planted, then it puts us in a place where we don't know what's going to happen when it does grow, right? And this is how problems can get resolved, is by understanding the seeds that you plant with the words that you hold on to, that you believe, that have emotional value within yourself. And that's the divine lesson. This is and as I pull that, the Nine of Cups is right here. You know what I'm saying? This is a completion of that. This is like everything coming into an ending in one way or another, about a lot of the things that you've come into, harvest in a sense through this death cycle, this death rebirth cycle that we're all going through. And a lot of us are learning and respecting more the fact that we have to master ourselves, that a lot of us are sent here to do great things, but with great things come great responsibility. And some of us have to go through the deductive process and the experiences to better serve not only themselves, but their community and what they're meant to do somehow. So, this is more relatable at this aspect to people with a spiritual business, people have thinking about going into business for themselves, that are more interested in learning more about being self-sufficient, engaging in self-empowerment. I think it's really important for people to stop fighting themselves and stop fighting something that they've been passionate about, and actually following their true passion, and, paying more attention to career-based success, what you want to do with the rest of your life, how you want to live the rest of your life that is incorporated. Because I have a very unique experience with my wife when it comes to understanding spirituality and teaching and learning and growing at the same time, is that we don't have to live in the matrix the way that the matrix told us how to live, to have a relationship, to be with a partner, or to be at home and do more of the things that you deserve to do as a sovereign being, your birthright, right? A lot of us are kind of like scared to do that. We're scared to take that leap because what the fuck does that look like? Or, everybody's doing it, but nobody can do it like you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in that energy where we have to follow true passion, and where true passion is taking us, regardless of what it looks like, because that's only the ego mind denying the fact that the creator is taking you somewhere where you belong, right? When we come to terms with our shit, dude, this is the clarity that we receive, especially at these times right now. We understand that our heartache is a very powerful emotion. Our ego is a very powerful emotion as well, because it maintains all of them, because it puts it all together and it orchestrates it, how it interprets the energy. This is part of the brain malfunction that a lot of people are kind of like misled, because they're using their intuitive sense, but you're using your head. You need to use your heart, your head, and your groundedness to literally kind of figure these things out. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just one thing that you're hearing in your head and you think that that's it. You have to look deeper for the truth within inside of yourself, because if you don't look deeper in the side of yourself, you could be easily misled and misguided. And this is what they're also talking about here, is our emotions have a way of leading us into places where we don't belong, because we decide that those emotions have value, and the value of that emotion literally manifests. It grows over time, and it becomes overwhelming to the point where it literally bleeds into every aspect of our lives. And then we have to reorchestrate ourselves, redesign ourselves, and reacclimate to ourselves without all that programming and things that have bled in ourselves, in our systems over time. It's all patterns and repetitive behavior if you're willing to look. And this is what astrology teaches us as well. So if you're interested in some type of celestial storm or soul star mapping that we do for your astrology to help you not only in the now, but maybe even in the past, and to understand your place, your purpose, and your path, we have that service available on our website. And it's an ass kicker, dude, because a lot of people can be easily kind of shifted exactly where they need to be with more awareness of their astrology, right? And this is what we do here for people, is to help them find their mission, find their passion, find their goals, and actually be successful about those things, And there'll be a lot more readings about that if you're deciding to become an entrepreneur and actually take business into your own hands and understand those things. Because we had to learn a lot of shit, dude, along the way. When she started these things, I didn't know anything about running a business, dude. But I had to fucking learn. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly feel like it's not only is it a big responsibility, but it's not that much of a responsibility when you're actually meant to get your shit together and be somebody that you're meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you taking life into your own hands and empowering yourself and inspiring yourself and motivating yourself, because you're not going to fuck this up. Even though you might perceive it to fuck it up, dude, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you, and it will be yours. And that's the promise that God gives us. You know what I'm saying? But we have to devote ourselves faithfully to that very respect. you know? There's no more looking in the mirror, at ourselves and telling ourselves that we can't do something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can't jump off a fucking bridge because you know what I'm saying? You know what's going to hide. But you can metaphorically or energetically jump off a bridge into something new because you will no longer resonate in these areas where you're at right now. And I think this is kind of like the inconsistency or the anxiety, maybe even stress, panic disorder is what spirit is saying. You know what I'm saying? So you might be a little twitchy and freaking out, and a little tender and sensitive and kind of reactive and responsive. That's a very indication that you're being shaken, and it's time to release those things and come to terms with whatever it is that you need to release to the universe. Because believe it or not, this whole time you've been intending something for yourself. You've been intending for growth. You've been intending for things to be righted, wrongs to be righted. You've been intending the things to be fixed in your life, and there's things that you want more of. And we don't understand through this death rebirth cycle. When we ask the universe for something, the universe actually expects something in return because it's part of that reciprocation space. But we don't necessarily understand that when we intend something to God, source, creator, universe, for us to be relieved of, prayed for, or received somehow, any frequency that we maintain that vibrates at a frequency that is not of what it is that you are praying for, that you wish for, that you are trying to manifest, will be relieved for you to claim that space. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the experience and trusting the process, because when we intend things, we go on a journey to receive that intention or whatever it is that we desire or deserve, right? And this is kind of like what the mirror teaches us right now, is teaching us right now. If you have the courage to look in it, I don't mean a physical mirror, if you have the courage and the bravery to look at yourself and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to be honest with myself regardless of how it may hurt or not, but I'm not going to self-defecate and I'm not going to insult myself. But the truth is what sets me free. And that promise of eternity is inside of that, seeking for that truth. And that's what we all desire, whether we realize it or not. What's up, Angel? I see you, bro. And that's what the mirror teaches us. But this is all foundational work, dude, because not only do I have the 4 cups out here, but I got the 4 wands out here. And, this is about ours. And this has been coming out consistently, water and fire. We are in water and fire right now. If you look at all the planets in the cosmos, they're pretty much in that area on a grand scale. So not only is it affecting you now, and this is the promise of now that you're receiving now, in the later months, it's also going to affect you as well, especially in the summer when the solstice comes around. You know what I'm saying? So get ready for another season, fam, but bless this season and allow it to be something that you can work with, something that you really apply yourself, something that you push for, something that you truly want to intend and focus on and manifest. And understand that whatever gets in the way or whatever tries to hold you down is exactly what you're meant to face and rationalize some way or somehow and be done with it and move on and receive what you have intended for yourself. This is the purpose of the season. This is what we do in the spring. We grow things, right? And then we harvest in the summer, or we harvest in the fall, and then we kind of like chill out, which is our death rebirth cycle in the winter, and then boom, in the spring we do it all over again. And that's why the spring represents the new year for us. Okay, I don't know how everybody lives, but the new year actually starts in the spring, because in the winter, especially around New Year's, we're going through a death cycle. We're going through a death and rebirth cycle, because when you get into the spring, it's more the significance of the rebirth and you getting there. So when you start realizing that these patterns and cycles are right there in front of you, dude, you start living your life by not only the now, but understanding that there's influential energies that are coming in for you to harvest and alchemize and build something with. You know what I'm saying? With healing yourself, when it's building an empire, getting a job, you know what I'm saying? All these things are valid, whatever you feel called to do is something that you should do, and anything that gets in a way of that is not part of your inner circle will probably fall. It's not your family that's not connected to you. Those things will go because it's part of that promise. You don't realize what it takes to kind of like bring your dreams to life until you start following the alchemical process of what that is, right? You have a tendency to honor the experience more, man, and not be so, sacrificial. It's like, I got to go through this. You know what I'm saying? And then complacency is always a bitch, dude, because when you feel like that, you just literally want to comfort yourself, when in actuality, that's the time for you to enact an opposing force to your detriment, which is something that has been a repeated behavior over time that ain't even yours. You just learned it from somebody else, Yep. Let spirit set you free and provide, man. Right? This is what this is all about, is what they're saying here. Is like spirit, let spirit set you, let your, allow yourself to flow with the water that is by your design, right? You know, when they say design, they mean your frame, you know, basically the way that you were meant to live life. You're meant to flow with it. You're not meant to fight against it. And that's why chaos and struggle is a thing, right? We want to perpetuate freedom, but we don't understand that every time we ask for that promise in our lives to set us free, we find an excuse to go back to the same shit that we've been doing before. All right. You know, that's also part of the reflection and review space, that we have an ability to take a look at these things and be like, oh yeah, this is no longer valid in my life. I can't do this anymore. It just keeps me in the same thing, doing the same thing, feeling the same thing, and things not getting any better, but everything changing around me. You know, I can't make this up, dude. You can't make this up. King of Wands. You know, it's like, hey, dude, we're in Aries season. Aries is like literally right around the corner. There's a lot of festive energy right now. We have the spring upon us. And I believe a lot of intuitive people can feel the energy and the intensity behind it, you know. So whether you're hiding in the shadows or not, it's time to come out and play. It's time to enjoy the sunlight. It's time to step into the fire and know what the flame teaches you. You know what I'm saying? Because the north, south, east, west, air, earth, fire, water are all our teachers, and they're our mentors as well. You know, and our elders. You know, a lot of people talk about honoring your ancestors, but you got to honor the elements, because they are your ancestors too. Right? Nobody ever thinks about that. You know, and when we learn how to work with earth, air, fire, water, and what earth, air, fire, water represents inside of us, aka also our astrology, when we learn how these things alchemize and they work in our lives, we can literally move mountains with these realizations that we have the ability to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody assumes that life is a certain fucking way, but when we sit down and we actually do this astrology together, and we start talking about your fortune, your career, what you're here, you're meant to do, your purpose, what's hindering you, what's holding you back, when we start talking about those things, you're a completely changed person. You might not know how the fuck you're going to change it, but once you become aware of these things, everything changes. So the second that you walk out to that door, or you're done with that meeting, in 72 hours, you're receiving confirmations of everything that was provided for you. And that's a promise. 3 to 5 days max, you will start seeing the confirmations in your life, like we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, on how to see these things for yourself. So that way you're not blinded by the person that you may have a perspective or an opinion of that may be speaking these things, you know? So I think it's like a really important phone call from, you know, spirit, you know, the divine messenger, in a sense, Mercury, you know? We're right now, we're in communication, but our communication, this is what a lot of people don't understand. When Mercury gets into Pisces, communication gets fucked up on purpose. Okay, not just technology, but people that are, you know, especially water signs, you know, that you notice that people are talking backwards, that what the fuck did he just say? And they're stumbling over their words and they're not communicating. And a lot of us could be hating on those people because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, when in reality, they're suffering from an energetic condition that comes from above that you may misinterpret and make them feel like shit about, or feel like shit about yourself. Let's talk about compassion and the levels of compassion that we have the ability to understand that maybe we've been a little fucking too short or too rigid, you know what I'm saying, in our discernment, when in reality it can flow like water, you know. Also, definitely the things in the reflective space that we can provide for others to understand that everything has intensified, bro. See, can't make this shit up. This is the 8 of Wands, bro. This is fire. This is movement. This is forward. This is passion. This is you acclimating to those things. And I already pulled out the King of Wands, so you already know where this is headed, fam. This is you honoring yourself, honoring your emperor or priestess-like state. You know what I'm saying? God, goddess, create whichever way you want to say it, man. You know, you have the ability to harness this energy for yourself and allow it to prove everything that it's meant to prove to you, should you, you know, commit to these things, you know? And again, we have another 8 here, but it's the 8 of water. It's like there's a lot of diversity and a lot of chaos around you, but you're meant to navigate these rough waters regardless. It's part of how we learn and grow, how we live life every day. Not that every day has to be a struggle, but there might be a little bit of a struggle in every day, and it might not look the same. You know what I'm saying? You might be still working on shit. You might be still building things. And you know what I'm saying? You might be engaging in like sacrifices that you have to make to create these things for yourself because you're tired of doing the same shit. The mundane is what Spirit is saying here. Again, also part of that reflective space that we all had the ability to go through these last 3 months. You know, and if anybody was taking notes or paying attention, you would realize that you are now on the precipice of great change and you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Because either you did the work or you listened to somebody who knows about the work, and now you're realizing for yourself and you're about to go for the ride. Enjoy the roller coaster, fam. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little bit of discipline. Everything is balance and alignment is key, you know? The key to your eternity is what I hear. So I'm going to pull one more card and I'm going to drop an animal card. If you guys would like a reading, I'm doing them. These are donation-based readings. You can put any amount on the donation. All donations go to support the ministry and the sanctuary that we are building. We are actually building a sanctuary. So, you know, the fun part about all that is we are taking donations. We're taking donations for the ministry to be able to create these things, to have a physical place for people to be able to come and enjoy the personal physical experience of what spirituality actually represents, divinely led, what the divine has taught us on who we are and what we are and how we are in balance and alignment with nature and Gaia herself, you know. So this environment that we're creating is something that is very beautiful, that we have the ability to help people learn and grow on a one-on-one basis at the sanctuary, you know, where they will experience healing animals, where they will enjoy, you know, understanding a different way of life, because it's nowhere fast paced like the modern world is. And this is another thing that divine has taught us over time, is that at the speed of life that we perceive it to be is not the speed of life of eternity. You know, it's actually slower, but you absorb more along the way. And you realize that everybody's running too fast, and this is why they can't see themselves. And anybody that knows how to pump the brakes realizes that every time that they pump the brakes and they took a good look around them, something changes, and so do they. Salah. Are we gonna do the animal card, or you want one more? Okay, we're gonna do the animal card. Thanks for posting that, Megan. I appreciate it. You can't make this shit up, man. It says personal choice. All right. And it's all the animals. This is the animal spirit deck, okay? So normally there's a bunch of animals in here and whatever. This is a profound statement for me. I don't know about y'all guys, but you got all the animals here. Personal choice. Let me read it to you. Close your eyes. What animal do you imagine? What strengths are they known for? What wisdom do they share? Embrace these qualities. We all have a spirit animal, fam. We all have an animal inside of us. And some of us, you know, realize that it's extremely primitive. And some of us realize that it's there for us to recognize what we are in nature, you know, naturally. You know, the bear, the lion, the eagle, the horse, all have, you know, spiritual significances. And if you think of these animals, you can actually do the research on Google and, you know, be like, whatever animal that literally came up into your brain at that moment, look for the spiritual aspect or the spiritual significance of what that animal represents in your life. And you will see, as a confirmation, you will see that it deeply resonates with something going on in your present structure. You know what I'm saying? It might be even something that you're not aware about, but when you go ahead and you read it, you're going to be like, oh, okay, now I get it. You know what I'm saying? So you might be dealing with a problem and not realize that the spirit animal has a lot of wisdom for you, or some type of, you know, honoring the path, which they normally do. Look at that. I got you. Look at that. Isn't that special? You know, we tell people all the time, bro. And I think that, you know, Mariví, thank you for being here, and thank you for reading from us. But I mean, you know, I've known you for a couple years now, and it's that I believe that, you know, everything is always something in review. You know what I'm saying? This is how we go. This is a 28-day cycle. You know, it's like, when does it end? When you stop getting pissed off about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I even had to realize on my journey and my path, bro. Is that we're not fucking perfect. But in God's eyes, we already are. And sometimes we don't need to judge others or ourselves. Especially ourselves. Because that's detriment right there. We don't even realize that it's happening. Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fine, bro. We see this shit all the time, bro. Like, we see it all the fucking time. People running and hiding from themselves, not realizing that when you intend to fucking live your best life, remember, the adversity is coming for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't have one without the other, and the universe wants to see if you're going to back that up. You know what I'm saying? Remember, this is reciprocation. You know? Asking you shall receive, but you should also give. You know, and I think a lot of people miss the mark on that one, not realizing that when they intend to do something really positive, something new, something fresh, something very, very passionate about, dude, adversity is something that you face to test you, to see if you're truly committed to what it is that you believe that you want. And that's what the spiritual path teaches us. In all humble honesty, you know, because I've been humbled by the truth as well, you know. So, yeah, we were actually talking about a collective message yesterday where it's like, hey, stop hiding. There's no more running. You can't run. If you have gifts and these gifts are being activated and you're evolving, you know what I'm saying? There's no keeping that quiet anymore. That's the confirmation that you've been looking for, whether shit is true in your life or not. Now it's about you discovering what that actually entails. You know? And I know that goes up for a lot of people out there right now. And they're realizing that they have all these gifts. And yeah, when gifts are calling you, you know what I'm saying? It's not for you to just make money. It's for you to live in a more conscious way because you've been gifted these abilities to share with others, humbly and respectfully, and having accountability. You know what I'm saying? So if you're interested in learning what those next steps are, purpose, place, path, if you're willing to learn your astrology, okay? This goes for everybody out there listening. We have the service available on our website. Contact us. We'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions to help you get into the service that will serve you best, okay? If it's not me, it's her. And that's it right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's the divine, honest truth, regardless of whether you want male or female, okay? You're always going to get what you need, and you're going to get it in the now. And you're going to be in the know, which allows you to navigate your life from a much more peaceful place or an observant space that allows you not to suffer like the way you've suffered in before. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you go through these spiritual experiences, that a lot of new energy right now is something that humanity hasn't even experienced. It hasn't happened in hundreds or thousands of years. That these combinations of energies that are hitting us right now hasn't happened since the 1700s in certain aspects. You know what I'm saying? Our evolution is based on the energy that we have the ability to manifest with and harvest, right? And that changes every day. And the moons change signs every 3 days, right? So what does that do for you, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that are very, very simple answers to complex questions with your astrology and possibly even a soul counsel. You know what I'm saying? So if you want the celestial mapping, we have that service available for you as well. If you're interested in seeing any of our services, just go visit fourcornershealing37.com or womboftheancientsun.org. You know where to find us, fam. There's nothing to be afraid of because the only thing that you're running from is the truth. And we deliver that, you know? And we deliver it in a humble, respectful way because we have the experiences to back it up, to explain to you that, hey, dude, sometimes it's a little bit rough of a process and we might not want to approach these things, you know? But the reality of it is a lot of these things set us free, and we should be more courageous and more forthcoming in engaging in the things that fucking keep us where we're at when we want to be somewhere else. Salah. You know, I don't even call it shadow work no more, Mandy. I don't even call it shadow work no more. You want to know why? Because every year we go through the shadows. Every year. Like around Halloween, and Scorpio, the underworld, Mars. Every year we do this. Some people are suffering on a month-to-month basis. It could be the moon, it could be this, it could be that, it could be people around them, it could be shitty people. You know what I'm saying? But like, We don't call it shadow work anymore because we understand that this is also part of the natural process and our rite of passage to our divine sovereignty. Because we've been conditioned into believing something that's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people out there that actually looked at God in the face and said, show me what it's like to be me. Because I know you intended it in the first place. You know? And then surrendering what is not what is authentic to me is something that I had to do. And I believe our personal experiences also represent those things in one way or another. With that being said, I love you all. Y'all stay beautiful and blessed. Hang in there, fam. If you have questions, you need help, reach out. Don't be afraid, bro. Don't get the lump in your throat about the foolish pride. Remember, everything that you do on our website is investing in yourself. Every minute that you're here, you're investing in yourself. And I think that's an important key matter here, a key matter of fact, right? Is that anybody that listens to this knowledge and wisdom, which is also meant to be shared, has to be owned, right? And to own it, it has to be lived. So remember, you know what I'm saying? If you're sharing this stuff with people, just remember that you're going to go on the journey too. And in all fairness, if you share your experiences or share the things that you've discovered, you know, with your friends or your community or the spiritual aspects of yourself, you realize that this is all product improvement, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is literally us getting into places where we thought we would never be, you know? And now it's not so much of a fallacy anymore. And this is the promise that is also given by the divine. So with that being said, I bid you all adieu, man. Y'all take care, bro. Till next time. Peace.